Hello, Dr. James Bogash, expert in health and longevity, and today I'm going to go over 5 habits that you can adopt today that's going to help you live. It's not just about living longer, it's about living healthier for longer. So compression of morbidity, if you'd like that term. Before we go on any further, make sure you like this video, share it with somebody you think needs the information, and subscribe to the channel. So that being said, we've got 5 slides here. I'll cover each one. Number 1 on the list absolutely has to be exercise. Walking is not enough, and lifting 5-pound weights is not enough. We have to be doing more. I certainly always in my head have this conundrum between looking at the people like in the blue zones that live much longer and they're not going to Planet Fitness or EOS or Chicago Health Club or whatever it is or was, but their lifestyles are much different. They have much harder lifestyles, much more physically active, and always has been. So that being said, we need to do, when we're living in more of an industrialized society, we need to make some accommodations. And that is, from an aerobic standpoint, I remain a strong, staunch advocate for high-intensity aerobic. 30 minutes of walking 3 times a week is not going to make a difference. We need to be challenging our cardiovascular system. There is a very long list of things that happen when we panic our body by running out of oxygen. Consistently, again and again and again, the research supports this whole concept of short burst over sustained aerobic. So I will typically recommend 10 sets of 30 seconds, and that 30 seconds is intense. Now, granted, my intense may be different than your intense, may be different than a 90-year-old's intense, but the goal is to run out of oxygen in that time frame. You can't do a high-intensity interval training for 3 minutes or 2 minutes or even 1 minute. It's too intense, and that's where you have to be. I don't care about rest time, so if you did 10 sets throughout the course of a day, ideally probably about twice a week, then that's going to be enough. The rest time, I don't think the body cares. It's about this depletion of oxygen and the body's response to that. Now, when it comes to strength training, it's the same thing. These 5-pound or 2-pound hand weights or soup cans, it's just not going to do it. We have to challenge ourselves more. We have to be at a weight that you can't do 8 to 10 reps. If you're doing 12 to 15 to 20 to 30 and you're talking on the phone, it's not enough. We need to be challenging our system more. We need to fight back against both bone and muscle loss with aging, and weight training is the best way to do it. I always say 3 sets. I'm not going to go into some of the specifics of like what we do, but 3 sets, 8 to 10 reps. I've been an advocate for BFR, blood flow restriction training, and I think that's another way to start. Maybe use less weight, less stress on the joints, but still get that muscle building response. And slow and with good mechanics. We were at the gym the other day and I saw there was a gentleman doing a lat pull down, and about 10% of his effort was actually the lat. The rest of it was this bouncing up and down using the weight of the inertia from the weights. Like, you're not getting anything done and your risk of injury goes up substantially. So it just doesn't make any sense. So that's number 1, exercise, both aerobic and strength component. Then when we look at our next component of vitamins, we're going to talk about diet, but vitamins are consider them as an insurance policy. And we want to have a good insurance policy, not a crappy insurance policy. Vitamins are there not to make you feel better and wonderful. They are to fill in the gaps on the days that maybe the diet is not quite enough or stress level is too high or something. So we talk about multivitamin. Generally, I've had videos where I talk about how to differentiate. I'm not going to go into full details here, but the whole once a day concept doesn't work. If that's your multivitamin, then it's probably time to throw it out and find another one. How many meals do we need a day? Like 1, we can take everything, and we know that's not how the body works. We need to have exposure to certain things throughout the day, especially the water-soluble ones like magnesium and some of the B vitamins. So vitamin D is another one that certainly we can be out in the sun, and that's a whole nother slide, but I still get what I call rational sun exposure. I'm not out at noon with baby oil and iodine here in Arizona, but I'm out in the sun. I drive my slingshot. I get good sun exposure. I still take 6,000 a day. You can dose vitamin D weekly. So in this case, 42,000 once a week. It's just whatever your daily dose is times 7. So sunlight and darkness. We are supposed to get sunlight during the day and darkness at night, and we've completely screwed up both of those. So sunlight during the day, we have to be outside. I have patients that I talk to that never make it outside of the house. It's not good for our mental health. Sunlight has vitamin D independent effects. So certainly we think about vitamin D, or sunlight and vitamin D, but it also helps modify our microbiome. It has mental, psychological effects, and it also helps us make both nitric oxide and melatonin, two very potent factors for modulating and enhancing our immune system. So get out during the day. I call it rational sun exposure. If you're going to, depending upon your skin type, for me, I can be out easily for an hour and a half or so and not sunburn. If I'm going to be out longer than that, I use barrier protection, and I've got something on my head most of the time if I'm outside. Darkness at night. We're supposed to be sleeping in caves and not have blue light after sundown. So either blue blocker glasses, if you've got a nightlight, make sure it's red, not any form of blue or white, because that's going to interfere with sleep and melatonin production. I'm a huge fan of sleep masks. Just blocking any type of light exposure to your eyes at night is important. But that whole sunlight darkness is a critical component of what we're designed for and good health. So diet. This is its own 6-hour presentation. I used to teach a whole 10-week lifestyle modification class, of which diet was a huge chunk. So a couple general ideas. First of all, we need to be calorie conscious. We can't take in 6,000 calories a day and think everything's going to be fine. When you look at two items, if they're both healthy and they both meet the criteria, and one's got lower calories than the other, then by all means stick with the lower calorie one. Carb conscious. We're not talking keto, but same thing. Like if we can make pasta and we can do a hearts of palm pasta instead of refined carbohydrate pasta, then we're going to go with the hearts of palm pasta. And same thing with any other option or any other label. If we're going to do like a frozen entree meal for lunch, I make sure that I'm looking for ones with lower carb versus higher carb. High phytonutrients, so plant-based diet. So looking at getting exposures to all different colors, flavors, scents, smells that Mother Nature provides us. Getting a strong blend of those is going to be good on every aspect of your health. And really, not necessarily a paleo diet, but certainly the advantage with the paleo is it's an unprocessed diet, which is what, like, we shouldn't be eating Twinkies. This whole concept of ultra-processed foods, like, it shouldn't even be a discussion. The second you start processing stuff and getting away from the more pure forms, the more problems you're going to have. So just as unprocessed a diet as possible. And number 5 is social interactions. We have, and you look at the oldest old and these blue zones, there are two things that they have in common. First of all is strong social connections, whether that's family, whether that's church, whether that's get-togethers. You have to have strong social connections. Otherwise, what else is life? At the end, when we die, it's not about the stuff we have, it's about the people's lives that we impacted. And then a meaning to your life, still feeling like you're a productive member of society with whatever that would be. I'll probably continue to read medical literature until the day I die, and that's a huge passion of mine, and I try to add value to the people in my life through that. But we need to have some type of value in our life that's going to help us want to live longer. As always, I will post a link or actually there's no study here, but if you want any backup, I'm more than happy to provide that, and I certainly have in videos that I've made over the past. But make sure you like this video, share it with somebody you think needs the information, and subscribe to the channel.